Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know that the title of tonight's show sounds a little nostalgic because it's called Looking Back. The reason why you could be indulging in looking back and reviewing a few things like memories of past friends or family members or good times that you've had in the past, is because there are 4 retrograde planets right now. That's rather unusual, and that's a lot of planets going backward. Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer, which does rule women and the home and families. And it is joining Mercury, which is retrograde in Scorpio, which does rule loyalty, justice, survival, and it is a financial sign, so it rules credit and debt and taxes as well. Then Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, and Pisces rules dreams, and it rules charity and the ability to rise above confining situations, and also rules our doubts and our fears, and it rules escape and illusion as well. Joining that planet right in front of it is Uranus, which is in Aries, and it too is retrograde. And since Aries does rule new starts, this can be a time when you can be really wondering if a new start is ever going to get underway. And so rather than push forward right now, I think that all of us can actually afford to take a little pause right now and go back and finish things up or tie up loose ends, or we can be longing for the good old days and for friends that we miss right now as we head toward the holidays, or we can be thinking a lot more about our relationships and our interactions with our family members. And that is a good thing to be thinking about right now, because 3 of the 4 retrograde planets are all trining each other. I think we're supposed to be going back and reviewing how we feel about people right now. And that's because Jupiter in Cancer is trining Neptune in Pisces and Mercury in Scorpio as well. There are actually 5 planets in the water signs though. So Jupiter and Neptune are also trining the Sun and Saturn in Scorpio as well as Mercury. And the Sun and Saturn are actually conjunct each other right now, which means people can be thinking very seriously and very deeply about financial matters in a very sobering way. So you could be thinking about debt or credit, or possibly making a move and what that would cost you as well. And there could be the possibility of some delayed money or even an inheritance coming your way right now. And if it isn't coming right now, you could hear about it shortly. And that is because in 3 days, Mercury will go direct in Scorpio. And that's when there can be a little better financial news coming. So for right now, I think it is a good idea that we slow down a little bit. Nothing is going to happen too fast. But if you're thinking that a new beginning won't ever get underway, I don't necessarily think that is true. It's just that it's going to take time. And why is that? Well, it's because there are 5 planets that are trining each other in the water signs, as I said, but there are 4 planets that are now trining each other in the earth signs, which is good because the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, are very practical and they're very realistic. They like to look at the bottom line. They like to figure out what something is going to cost or how much time it will take to achieve a goal. And they are excellent at not skipping steps and trying to sort of figure everything out in a dollars and cents sort of way or in a very practical way. And that is what can be going on right now. It can be taking time to get something underway because it's got to get set up. And the rules and regulations do have to be followed, or every single step of a procedure has to be put in place, or else there has to be some structure formed for a new beginning. What if you were trying to form a new company? You'd have a lot of paperwork ahead of you before you can even start, because you have to follow the rules about how to set everything up, including your taxes and including incorporation. An awful lot of things have to be done before you can actually get underway. And that is what I think is happening now. So you don't need to expect quick results on anything right now, but you don't need to get too discouraged either just because there are retrograde planets. And that is because Mars is now in Virgo, and Virgo is a fact-finding sign, a very detail-oriented sign, and Mars is a very hard-working planet. That planet is trining 3 planets in Capricorn now. Venus has moved into Capricorn, and it is joining the Moon and Pluto today, which are exactly conjunct at 9 degrees in Capricorn. So those 3 planets are trining that Mars. Pluto and Mars are the rulers of Scorpio, and there are 3 planets in Scorpio sextiling all the planets in Mars and Capricorn. So there's a lot going on because Scorpio is a fixed financial sign. And that simply means that after the paperwork gets done and the structure is in place and there is some sense of organization, there's got to be a way to pay for all that or to finance it. And Scorpio is the sign that rules financing. So that can be quite harmonious. It's just that it's going to take a little bit of time because Venus, the planet of love and beauty, is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is the traditional ruler of the 10th house of your career or your reputation in the public eye. Capricorn rules things that take a long time to achieve, such as trust and honor and respect and rewards over a long period of time. So Capricorn does rule pension plans. It rules retirement funds. With Venus there can be people that can be seriously thinking about how to get their hands perhaps on some money in a retirement fund, and that might help them make some sort of new beginning or form a company or do something different, maybe even borrow to pay down debts or bills or invest in something that has a long-term benefit to it, like higher education. So the 5 planets in the water signs are very harmonious with the 4 planets in the earth signs. Why is that? Because water and earth are very compatible, and that is because earth needs the nurturing water in order to make things grow. So you don't need to be impatient right now. What you do need to do is take a little look back right now at how you feel about things in your past or how you assess your relationships now. The reason why that's pretty important is because nothing stays the same. And in fact, we all get a little older each day, and maybe you have outgrown a few relationships, and this is a good time to realize that too, because the idea of moving on is very well aspected. And so it doesn't mean you have to do it right now, but you could be putting together reasons why you may want to be moving on, and that would be very harmonious. You could do that in a gentle, easy way right now. Remember, Cancer rules endings, but because Jupiter is there for a whole year, any ending in most people's life would be extremely compatible and rather nicely done at this time. So at the end of the day, it might be quite comfortable to be looking back, but actually the only way that we can all go is forward in life. That's why the sun comes up every morning in a little different place. It just is a way of reminding us that we are all growing, even if it's only a little bit at a time. So you do have the future to look forward to as well. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that this is simply a time when you can be facing some sort of change in your life, and it isn't by your choice, although it could be, but I think it's by someone else's. And the thing that I think is going to be happening, Aries, is that I think somebody may be thinking of leaving you. Or you could be thinking of leaving them. But there are actually 3 planets in Capricorn: Venus, the moon, which does rule women, and Pluto, which are all strongly squaring your sign where you have Uranus. And Jupiter in Cancer, which is retrograde, is strongly squaring your sign as well. So I think that either somebody in your home life or somebody at work has decided not to challenge you anymore, but to simply leave. Maybe they are not happy with the way things have been going, and they have decided to move on instead. It could be you that's deciding that, Aries. Maybe you're deciding to move back to somewhere as you reflect about better days in your past. Or it can simply be that you want to go and try something else right now. And since you may not be meeting all the standards that are required of you, either in your home life or in your work life, that could be your rationale for leaving yourself. But I think it's somebody else that is deciding that they're not going to fight with you anymore. They're not going to challenge you. They're not even going to question you anymore. They're simply going to find a practical way to leave. And I think that they will be doing that sooner or later. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you really can be sort of getting back in the saddle, Taurus, which is wonderful. And the reason why is that you are excellent at working hard for practical results, rather high-priced ones, because a Taurus has expensive taste. But it's absolutely excellent that Mars in Virgo is trining your sun right now, because that can be reminding you about a little health problem that's going to get worse if you don't pay attention to it. So you do need to do that, Taurus. But also, that Mars is trining Venus, your own ruler, and the Moon and Pluto, all in Capricorn right now. So those 4 planets are all trining your sun. And that can really give you a boost right now, Taurus. It can simply mean that you can be a good problem solver, absolutely excellent, and you can get help and good advice, particularly financial advice, about how to handle a health matter. In other words, how much it would cost maybe to fix a health matter. Or it can simply be that with the planets in Scorpio, the Sun, Saturn, and Mercury there all opposing your sun, you may be able to lay your hands on some retirement funds in order to withdraw some and pay down debt. And that would be rather nice for you as well. There is also an outside chance, if you are a little close to retirement, that someone could offer you a bonus to retire. And that's free money, Taurus. I urge you to take it. Okay, another thing I want to tell you, Taurus, is that with Venus in Capricorn for 4 months, it will be there until March. Since it does rule love, love could be coming to you, Taurus. So I hope you're not working so hard that you don't look around every once in a while and notice if somebody's trying to catch your eye, because I think they could be. And they could be a little bit older, and they could be financially secure. They have no money problems. So if I were you, I would make a little time for romance, Taurus, because I think it's on your horizon. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time, once again, when there are no planets in any of the air signs, so there is no way to put a spin on anything or to talk your way in or out of anything either. And I think at the same time, with Mars in Virgo squaring your sun, somebody can be coming at you right now, Gemini, and asking for the particulars. They can really be wanting a lot of information from you. If you have already done your homework and you have some facts at your disposal and you really do understand something, this is the right time for you to convince someone that you really know what you're talking about, Gemini. However, if you haven't bothered to do that, if you sort of skipped a few steps or you sort of put a little shine on some information but you haven't actually absorbed it all, you could be in a little bit of trouble right now, Gemini. So I hope you've been doing your homework, because somebody is going to be asking you question after question right now. If you don't measure up or you cannot supply satisfactory answers, there could be some sort of problem with that, and it would be a problem that would make you very uncomfortable, Gemini. So I think that right now you've really got to keep your nose to the grindstone and work pretty hard, because someone else is going to be demanding answers right now. So I hope you have them. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time, since Jupiter is now retrograde in your sign, that you may want to go back and reconsider a plan of yours. You certainly could have the financial resources to do what you want. You may even have more time on your hands to do what you want. But you may decide instead to reconsider a plan and maybe to wait just a little longer on that. It could be that you want to move. It could be that you could be handling some sort of family matter, and maybe you're deciding to let it ride for a while instead. That's a good idea, Cancer. Let it ride throughout the winter. Wait until spring. Nothing's going to happen real fast right now anyway. But there are 3 planets in Capricorn: the moon, your own ruler, Pluto, and Venus, which are all opposing your sun sign now, Cancer. And that simply means that management in large government agencies or large corporations are making decisions, and well-informed decisions. They're not trying to hurt anybody. They're trying to stay in business. And yet their decisions could involve policies that you don't agree with at all, or that you don't really like. So you're right. These are not the good old days. And you may decide to sort of step back right now and really think about how much you want to be around an organization that is not taking your interests at heart anymore. And you may decide to do something about that. But if I were you, I'd write it out for this winter and wait and see what changes occur in the spring instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is certainly a time when I think that you can be beset by financial problems still, and that is because the Sun and Saturn are exactly conjunct. So when planets are conjunct, it compounds their power and makes them twice as powerful. And Mercury too is in Scorpio, and they are all 3 squaring your sun sign, Leo. And so that means there still isn't enough money, and you thought there would be. But remember, there are 4 retrograde planets right now. And when planets go retrograde, things slow down. And it does pay to go back and review things. You might still have to pull in your belt a little bit right now, Leo, because there could be extra expenses, even hidden costs that you were not aware of. However, you keep the faith, Leo. New beginnings can get underway. You're just going to have to work really hard for whatever you get for the next 2 years, but you're building a future that can make you secure for the rest of your life. That's why I urge you not to give up. Just try to be patient and go slow. It's not easy for a fire sign to be patient, but that is the quality you will have to develop, particularly right now when there are so many planets going backward. So take a little break if you can, Leo, and try to slow down a little bit and just relax if you can. And that is because other people are getting things together, but it's taking them extra time. And no matter what you say to them, they're not going to speed up right now. That's why you need to be patient. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is simply a time when I think that you can be blessed with the approval from somebody pretty high up, or it can be that love is coming your way too, Virgo. And that is because Mars is in your sign, but it is being beautifully trined by Venus, the love planet, and the moon and Pluto today in Capricorn. Venus and Pluto are going to stay in Capricorn. Pluto will be in Capricorn for years, and Venus will be there until next March in continual trine to your sun, Virgo. And so while Mars is there, making you work a little too hard and worry way too much, I think that you can sort of be overdoing it and very mentally active right now, almost to the point of exhausting yourself, Virgo. But I hope you take a little time out for rest, relaxation, and love, Virgo, because somebody who may be a little bit older or who is very mature and financially secure can certainly be liking you very much. And either they're liking you romantically or they are very much liking what you're doing right now. They could be really approving of whatever you are working on right now, and they can be very pleased with that. And I think it's going to stay that way. So Virgo, you could be looking at a rather nice promotion, particularly if you don't wear yourself out right now. And by that I mean when Mars is in your sun sign, you can be looking at tiny little facts. In other words, you can be a little bit of a nitpicker right now and very critical. And criticizing others is not going to make you loved, Virgo. And so you can continue to work hard, but if I were you, I'd be real quiet about the criticism right now. This is not the time for it. Let your work speak for itself, because other people are approving of that. Don't give them any reason not to approve of you. So try to keep your criticisms real quiet right now. They're not going to do you any good to voice them right now anyway. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, This is a time, once again, when there are no planets in the air signs, which is too bad. And there are a lot of planets in Scorpio right ahead of your sign, Libra. So there is activity going on, and Mercury in Scorpio will go direct in 3 more days. And so there can be sort of an opening up of some good financial news, which is wonderful. But I think that the accent is going to be on other people. There are actually 5 planets in the cardinal signs, and they are all squaring and opposing each other. Yours is a cardinal sign. So Venus, your own ruler, and the moon and Pluto in Capricorn are squaring your sun. Jupiter in Cancer is squaring your sun, and Uranus in Aries is opposing your sun. I think that you are going to have to sort of settle for number 2 right now, Libra, for standing on the sidelines a little bit. That isn't where you want to be, but I don't see a way for you to sort of be number 1. Or you can be put on sort of a standby notice right now. And I think that's what you're going to have to settle for, Libra. It won't stay that way, but things are slowing down at the moment, and people are reconsidering things, and there are practical steps that have to be taken to initiate a new beginning, and that takes time. That's why I think that you are going to have to sort of step back and be put on standby, or just wait a little bit longer, or sort of take a lower position. And I try to be happy with that, Libra, because things are going to move forward. It's just we all have to be really patient right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, you have 3 planets in your sign, and they are being beautifully fortified by Jupiter in Cancer and Neptune in Pisces, which are retrograde, and Mercury is retrograde in your sign. But Mercury is going to go direct in 3 days, and it's going to come up and conjunct 2 other planets that are now conjunct, the Sun and Saturn in your sign. The Sun and Saturn in your sign indicate that you can be feeling very committed to a long-term plan that you have already done a lot of thinking about. It is a plan that you have looked over again and again and again to make sure that it really will be successful. And when Mercury goes direct in 3 days, I think that the final fact or the final decision will be made by you to go ahead and branch out and continue. So remember, I mentioned that people can be thinking of the good old days and of former friends and relationships, but that all we really have is the future to look forward to. So as you go forward, I think it can be that you pick up the mantle of responsibility and resume a role that you had before, or a job that you really know how to do quite well, and probably decide to go for that in a slow but sure way. You will be very successful. It is going to work out just as well as you have been planning, Scorpio. It's just that this is a slow time. The planets in Capricorn and Virgo are sextiling the planets in your sign. And so when things do move forward, they're all going to move together in a well-orchestrated symphony of completion. And that is what's going to make it all very successful. So I wish you the best, Scorpio. And I know yours is the sign of patience, so I'm sure you'll be patient now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when I think that you are going to have to be very, very careful. And you may have to redo something right now, Sagittarius. And the reason why is that Mars in Virgo is squaring your sun sign, and Neptune in Pisces is also squaring it. They've been doing that for a while. So if you have said anything to anybody, or you've presented some facts to anyone, or you've made any kind of presentation at all, somebody is going to come back now, and just like Gemini, they're going to be asking you a lot of questions. Or if they don't ask you anything, quietly behind the scenes, they're going to be checking absolutely everything you have said or written down, Sagittarius. And if they find any discrepancy, you may have to sort of go back to square one and start all over again and fill in the gaps, Sagittarius, and that's quite possible. So if you've skipped over a few little things lately, or you've skipped over them in the past, this is a time with 4 retrograde planets when someone is going to really deeply question you, and they may require that you go back and sort of do something exactly right or get some retraining. But that's all right. This is a good time for us to sort of go back and make sure we're in good shape for a new beginning that can still happen at a later date. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you really are in the driver's seat, and you can be in the mood for love as well. But I think you've got your mind on business and on working with pertinent facts that other people are supplying you right now in an effort to build some sort of structure or even to start your own company. And that would be an excellent idea, Capricorn. So even though planets are retrograde, I think quietly and slowly, if you persevere, you can go forward, and your long-term interests are looking absolutely excellent. So I don't think you have anything to fear. All right, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is simply a time when I think that you really need to think a lot about going back to something you've done before or consulting with people who are older and wiser. And that's because the 3 planets in Capricorn are right behind your sun sign, and there aren't any planets in the air signs. So you do need advice from somebody older and wiser right now, or you need to join a company that is very well established, and perhaps an old company, because they know how to get through tough times, and they can make you financially secure as well. So this is a time for you to get real practical about things, Aquarius, because there isn't any way to put a spin on anything right now. So I think it's back to square one for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is simply a time when you can't kid yourself about anything, because Mars in Virgo is opposing your sun sign where you have Neptune, and that simply means even though it is very comforting to go back and think about the way things used to be, or your old friends, or even think about moving back to a place that you've lived in before, that's a nice idea, but actually you're going to have to face facts. And what kind of facts would they be? Facts about a gnawing health matter that could turn out to be bigger than you think if you don't get rid of it, Pisces. And also facts that pertain to some sort of work or accounting issue. So I think you're going to have to keep your nose to the grindstone right now, Pisces, and be as practical as you can. It will pay off. All the planets in Capricorn do sextile your sun. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week right here. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.